The story of its invention remains an inspiring testament to the power of innovation, collaboration, and vision. The invention of the Internet is one of the most profound developments in human history, influencing nearly every aspect of modern life, from communication and commerce to entertainment and education. The story of its creation spans several decades and involves contributions from various researchers and technological advancements. In particular, the 1960s and 1960s marked the beginning of what would eventually evolve into the global Internet we rely on today. The seeds of the Internet were sown in the 1960s, a time of immense scientific and technological progress, fueled in part by the Cold War competition between the United States and the Soviet Union. During this period, numerous groundbreaking innovations emerged, particularly in the fields of electronics, computer science, and telecommunications. The convergence of these developments laid the foundation for the Internet. At the time, most computing was done on mainframe computers, large machines that occupied entire rooms. These computers were expensive, and access to them was often limited to a select few institutions, such as government agencies, universities, and large corporations. However, several visionaries began to see the potential of connecting computers together to share resources and information in ways that were not possible with traditional methods of communication. One key challenge was the difficulty of sharing information between computers that were located in different places. While the concept of computer networks was not new, the idea of a global network that could link disparate computers and allow for communication between them was still in its infancy. In the United States, the Advanced Research Projects Agency, or ARPA, a branch of the Department of Defense, became deeply interested in solving this problem. In the early 1960s, ARPA was tasked with funding research into advanced technologies, including computer science. A key figure in ARPA's efforts to create a communication network was Dr. J.C.R. Licklider, a psychologist and computer scientist who is often credited with articulating the idea of an intergalactic network of computers. Licklider's vision was that computers could be used not just to process information, but also to share it across vast distances. His idea was that people should be able to interact with computers and other people remotely, which would foster collaboration and accelerate technological progress. In 1962, Licklider's concept began to take shape when he recruited a series of researchers who would become central figures in the creation of the Internet. One such person was Robert Taylor, who took over Licklider's project at ARPA and continued to push for the development of a global network. Taylor's vision was to create a way for computers in different locations to communicate with each other, making it easier for researchers to share data and collaborate. The first concrete step toward realizing Licklider's dream came in 1966, when a researcher named Paul Byron, working at the Rand Corporation, proposed a method of interconnecting computers using packet switching. Packet switching was a revolutionary concept at the time. Instead of sending a message or piece of data as a single, continuous stream, like a telephone call, packet switching would break the data into smaller packets, each of which could travel independently through the network. These packets could then be reassembled at the destination, allowing for more efficient use of the available communication infrastructure and making the network more resilient to failure. Simultaneously, in the United Kingdom, Donald Davies at the National Physical Laboratory independently developed a similar idea. Both Byron and Davies' concepts were crucial in shaping the way modern computer networks work. By the late 1960s, ARPA began working on a practical implementation of these ideas, leading to the creation of ARPANET, the precursor to the modern Internet. In 1969, ARPA funded the development of ARPANET, a research network designed to connect computers at various universities and research institutions across the United States. The goal of ARPANET was to create a communication system that would allow researchers to share data and computational resources, thus accelerating scientific progress. The first successful transmission on ARPANET took place on October 29, 1969, when researchers at UCLA and the Stanford Research Institute successfully sent a message to each other. The message was supposed to be the word "login," but the system crashed after the first two letters, making the message "low." Despite the early glitch, this event marked the first step toward the creation of a global network. Over the next few years, ARPANET grew rapidly, with more universities and research institutions joining the network. By 1972, ARPANET had connected 37 institutions across the United States, and it was clear that the network had enormous potential. While ARPANET was a groundbreaking development, it was still a relatively small, closed network. The real breakthrough that would enable the global expansion of the Internet came in the mid-1970s, with the development of the Transmission Control Protocol, TCP, and the Internet Protocol, IP, or TCP/IP. In 1973, Vinton Cerf and Robert Kahn, two researchers working at Stanford University and ARPA, began developing the TCP/IP protocols. The goal was to create a set of rules for how data should be transmitted over a network. The TCP/IP protocols were revolutionary because they allowed for different types of networks to communicate with each other, creating a unified system of networks that could be connected together into what we would later call the Internet. TCP/IP worked by breaking data into packets and providing a system for sending those packets across different networks, no matter their specific technical details. It allowed for error checking, retransmission of lost data, and reordering of packets, making data transmission much more reliable and efficient. The introduction of TCP/IP protocols was a pivotal moment in the history of the Internet. By 1983, ARPANET had fully adopted TCP/IP, and the global network of interconnected computers was officially born. As the 1980s progressed, the Internet began to expand rapidly. The adoption of TCP/IP allowed new networks to connect to the growing system, and universities, research institutions, and government agencies across the globe joined the Internet. The development of the Domain Name System, DNS, in 1983 made it easier to navigate the network by replacing the need to remember numeric IP addresses with human-readable domain names. At the same time, new services and applications began to emerge on the Internet. The most notable of these was the development of the World Wide Web, or WWW, by British computer scientist Tim Berners-Lee in 1989. Berners-Lee's creation of the web revolutionized how people interacted with the Internet, making it more accessible and user-friendly. The World Wide Web provided a graphical interface that allowed users to browse and share information easily using hyperlinks, forever changing the way information was accessed and consumed. The commercialization of the Internet also began in the early 1990s. The Internet was no longer just a research tool. It was becoming a platform for businesses, entrepreneurs, and individuals to create content, communicate, and engage in commerce. The creation of the first web browsers, such as Mosaic in 1993, allowed ordinary people to navigate the web with ease. The invention of the Internet was not the result of a single person's work or a single technological breakthrough. It was the result of decades of research, experimentation, and collaboration between visionaries in the fields of computer science, telecommunications, and information theory. The 1960s marked the beginning of this journey, with the development of ARPANET and the early concepts of packet switching and computer networking. These innovations, combined with subsequent breakthroughs in networking protocols and the development of the World Wide Web, paved the way for the global, interconnected Internet we know today. Looking back, the invention of the internet represents a pivotal moment in human history, one that has reshaped society in ways that were unimaginable just a few decades ago. The internet has revolutionized communication, education, commerce, entertainment, and virtually every other aspect of modern life. As we continue to develop new technologies and explore the potential of the internet, the story of its invention remains an inspiring testament to the power of innovation, collaboration, and vision. Thank you for watching Historical Moments. We hope you enjoyed this trip through history. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible stories from the past. Until next time, keep exploring the moments that changed history.